we're not accustomed to being vulnerable. We have to be at a men's retreat, or we have to be in a small group, or we
Yeah.
have to like be in that environment where it's kind of forced out of you. Hey,
Yeah.
how's your sexual purity going on? Who talks like that? You're not going to get together with a bunch of guys and like, dude, are you
No.
looking at porn?
Yeah.
Unless you're in a Christian community that feels safe, you just don't go there.
Hello and welcome to the Christians Who Date podcast. I'm Andrea Alley, and I'm sitting here with my two best friends. One's in Montana, one's in LA. Do you want to introduce
Yes.
yourself? Best friends.
It's Callie Christopherson in Montana and
Lauren Brake in Los Angeles, and it's so hot here. It's like 90 degrees.
ew.
And yeah, hot in Texas also, even though I'm wearing a sweatshirt.
I know, I can tell.
Yeah. Also, we have a long anticipated special guest on the podcast.
Yes.
Long anticipated just because the men out there are like, when are we going to have a man represent us on this podcast? This is a lot of estrogen happening. We're hearing the ladies' point of view a lot. So we're like, all right, who's like a solid single guy who we can have on the podcast and give us some of that perspective? And so we have David Sassounian on here. David, how's
Good
it
job.
going?
You said it right.
Yes.
I'm doing well. Thank you. You've heard my last name one time. You said it right. Good
Oh
job.
my gosh. Whew. Can't
Congrats.
say it again. That's going to be the only time. We'd love to hear, David, just why don't you like introduce yourself a little bit to the audience? Like
Sure.
give us like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
short version.
Short version. Okay, so I'm currently living like 70% in LA, 30% in Texas. I moved to Texas in 2016. I felt like the Lord, like over the course of a year, had really put on my heart to move there. So I moved there, but spending most of my time over here right now. I'm 41, so I'm a little on the older end, especially for singleness. Yeah, I just have a moving company here in LA, and I don't have a whole lot of like, I feel like variety in life right now. Go to CrossFit like Lauren as well, try
Let's
to
go.
work out as much as I can. I really love men's ministry, or just like, I wouldn't even call it ministry. I really do love, I would say, encouraging or like speaking into men. I feel like many men just feel alone, so I have a heart for that. And then I'd say in the last like 5 to 7 years, have kind of been on this pursuit, this journey of just figuring out like more mental health, more inner healing, and just so many things that you just don't know. I feel like I have grown tremendously in the last probably 5 to 7 years. And it's been, like I said, just a journey, I think it's Chris Valentin who says, look, when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just
That's
didn't
good.
know so much. And as things have kind of come up, I'm like, man, I really enjoy this. But definitely has been a fight to get to a place of like having an open enough heart to be like, oh, there's something actually wrong with me. So anyways, that is my little intro of, who I am, what I do, and kind of my pursuit of just growing.
Yeah, that's great. And one of the reasons we wanted to have you on is because you, I guess maybe not so much anymore, but there was a time where you were putting out a lot of content kind of in the dating, like even some maybe inner healing or mental health stuff.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that, like you said, like, there was stuff that you didn't know, but it feels like in your reels that you're kind of like, I didn't know this, but let me unpack it and break it down for you so that you don't have to struggle in the same way I did. So we
That's so good. Yeah. You literally said, like, I feel like what I try to put words to at times. You literally just said it so perfectly.
Yeah. And we're like, well, maybe he'll do that on our podcast,
We'll see,
No
we'll see what
pressure.
comes up. We'll see what
No
comes up.
pressure, no pressure.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. yeah, so that's why we wanted to have you on. We just appreciate anyone that's like willing to talk about the hard stuff and be real and honest and be in process, and because we're all in process, like we definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
like we maybe have it 5% like more figured it out than some people, I guess, just because like we've failed and tried and failed a lot in the dating area.
Sure.
So we love to like maybe rewind a little bit and just hear like your backstory with dating. Like, how did you grow up? Did you grow up in a Christian home? A lot of our audience is Christian, because we're the Christians who date, but
Of course.
you know, everyone's welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I can give you some backstory. So we'll start off with my parents were never married.
Okay.
They were together for a little bit. They split up when I was, I think, like 6 months. So grew up with my mom, and I guess giving a little backstory on her, she was 18 years old, so very young when she had me, and saw her literally do her best that I think she could have. But in the midst of it, she dated a lot of guys. And so that was kind of a normal thing growing up, just having mom kind of date around. I mean, she was, late teens, early 20s, and didn't feel like I had a good male representation in my life. I had, but guys were there dating my mom for a little bit, and then things didn't work out. So I don't feel like I had a good example of, what a healthy household looks like. And then on my dad's side, he had 5 kids. This is probably a little bit too much information, but I think having a little bit of history kind of helps, like the perspective of like where I came from. But he had 5 kids with 4 different women. So he dated, got with people, had kids, and then just kind of pieced out.
Hmm.
And he comes from a family, I think he has 9 brothers and sisters, large family, not a healthy family, a lot of alcoholics. And so I don't feel like I had, from mom's side or dad's side, a very good view of what like healthy relationship looks like. So
Yeah.
as I was kind of growing up, I took notice of the things that my parents didn't do right. And I don't know if, you guys had did the same thing, but you can look at your parents and you're like, like they're doing that wrong. As an example, like my dad was a big time alcoholic.
Hmm.
So in high school, we all get invited to high school parties, and I would go, but I was like, my dad's an alcoholic. Maybe I might become one. So let me
Hmm.
stay away from that. Let me stay away from alcohol. So I would go to parties and stuff, but I just would never drink because I was just scared to. And same with dating. I was like, my dad has 5 kids with 4 different women. He's really good at talking. He seems kind of like he has a gift with words. Maybe I'm sort of like that as well. Let me kind of stay away from girls, for the most part.
Hmm.
I had one girlfriend in high school, and high school is like, it's a whole other world, but you're dating for like 6 months or something, and it seems like a long time. But that was really it. In high school, I just dated one girl. We dated twice, actually, my junior year and senior year. And at some point, I just really lost my confidence. That's a whole nother story, but things ended. I had a lot of self-doubt. I would say even a level of like self-hatred,
Hmm.
and things obviously didn't work out. And then I didn't date for a long time. I was like in high school at 15, I got invited to, I wasn't going to church, okay? But I was playing baseball, and one of my buddies was like, "Hey, do you want to go to a local church? There's really hot girls there." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, like let's go." So we would
Always
sit in
draws
the
them in.
Come
oh,
on.
it totally got us, a 15-year-old kid guy.
You know, the Lord will
So
use it.
he would use it because we were sitting in the back of the church. We were literally sitting in the back, but right where we sat, every person had to walk by us. So like in the seat that I'm in right now, maybe like 6 to 8 feet in front, literally every single person had to come in. So we were like checking out all the girls who came in, and it was super motivating. I was like, she's super hot. It was because I never knew that people my age went to church. And that might sound like
Mm.
weird or foreign, but I didn't really grow up in the church. I went periodically with grandparents, but that's kind of what got me in. It was like, there's people like me at church. This is weird. I thought they
Mm.
were all like losers or like nerds or whatever, but seeing super hot girls at church literally encouraged me literally encouraged
I
me.
died.
And I would go every day. I'm sorry, I'd go every week. We would go
Every
every
day.
single week to church. Yeah, I'd go every day to church. But there was like 300 high school students that would go to this specific like high school night. And the reason I say it motivated me is because I felt like there was people like me that were going to church, and I was like, this is really cool. I really had no idea. But we never dated, did anything, tried to hook up. We never did anything with any of these girls. God got us in the door, and then we were like kind of captured from there. So I feel like that whole experience was very pure. So we're talking about like from 20 to, sorry, not 20, 15 to about 25. And I was kind of scared of girls, you know, kind of like uncomfortable, really didn't know how to interact, really didn't know, you know, what to say. But dating really started for me, I feel like around 25 to 30. And I didn't date much though. Um, I don't know if you guys have had like really long breaks, like you date someone and you don't date someone for like 3 years. Is that something you guys have experienced? I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Is that a real thing? Yeah. Okay.
for sure.
That was for sure. Okay. And
The
I think it's
3 years, 5 years,
5 years,
6 years,
7 years, 10
yeah.
years. For sure.
The desert. We call it the desert land.
The desert season, yeah.
The
I feel
desert
like
seasons.
it's a strange thing though, because, you know, guys are the ones that are supposed to pursue, but we're also very scared of doing that. So it's like we have to arise to the challenge. That's a whole nother topic. But I found someone when I was 30, and she was from Texas, actually, from Dallas. And I thought like this was it. I was like, this is the person that I'm probably going to marry. And so quickly, when you start crossing boundaries sexually, it's like, you guys, I mean, I'm not gonna say you guys know, but we know that that just muddies things, like creates bonds, you know, and just messes things up, makes you confused. And we dated off and on for not probably, actually, no. We dated off and on from 2014 to 2020.
Okay.
So
Wild.
we would date, and then we would take like a year off and not date. Then we would date short term and then not date for like 2 years, and then date and then like not date for 3 years. And I feel like I learned a lot through that. And that was an experience that when you have high highs and low lows, you feel super connected. You get addicted to those strong feelings of I'm with someone, like this feels like a real thing. And you don't know what healthy relationship looks like. And then when you do find it, after her and I, you know, went our separate ways, I started to date healthier people. But it was because of her that I started to pursue like getting healthy myself. And that's, if you want me to get into that a little bit, I can, but that was a whole nother like framework that I had not developed at all. And I can explain that if you like, or if you have a question, I can answer it.
Maybe a little bit more. I guess you don't have to go too far into it, but I am curious, like what specifically did it bring to light or bring to the surface that you were like, okay, this is something I want to work through?
Yeah, so I think this, do you guys know who the Freemans are? It's like empowering couples. They have a podcast. It's called the Freemans.
I think
Meet the
so.
Freemans. They're really good, but they just released a video and I'm sorry, a podcast, and I was listening to it yesterday, I think it was, and they were going over like the 3 top mistakes that men make, and I was like, dude, this is crazy because I can identify the mistakes that I made pretty quickly in relationship, but one of the things that she would do, and this is mistakes that men make, is we think it's the woman's job, so to speak, to be the one in charge of the growth of the relationship or the growth of the children, or like making sure that you guys are good. We think it's the woman's, like that's your job, and it's not. And women often will give men like, hey, listen to this podcast, read this book. You should seek out counseling from so and so. And we just kind of sit back and allow you to do it. We're not proactive about those type of things.
Hmm.
And it was because of this girl that I dated. She literally, no joke, she literally gave me a workbook. And she's like, I need you to spend like 6 hours a day going through this.
Oh
Like,
gosh.
like,
Dang.
like you need healing now. Like
So empowering.
Wow.
yeah.
Just kidding.
And women usually don't do things like that because they don't want to feel like they're controlling or manipulating. In her case, she was like, hey, this is urgent. You really need help. And I need you to devote like all your extra time, or actually all your time, to pursue this if you want this to work out. So begrudgingly, I was doing it. And I would actually be like at her place, like at a table, like on this workbook, going through it. And I freaking hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Crazy.
It felt so like, this is stupid. There's nothing wrong with me. Like, it's her. It's not me. Like, I get along great with everybody. It's just her that like brings up these things. And I didn't even know what a trigger was. You know, I had no idea what a trigger was, no idea what it meant or the responses. And so as I'm reading this workbook and going through it, maybe a few weeks into it, it went from this place of like, I hate this. This is stupid. There's nothing wrong with me, to, oh, I'm actually starting to enjoy this a little bit. But I didn't really know why. It just felt like it was good information, and it no longer felt like it was her putting it on me. I was like, actually, I kind of want to do this now. I kind of want to actually see what these, what this workbook or this podcast or this sermon or like has to say. And she also gave me a list of guys to reach out to. She's like, hey, you need mentorship? You need counseling?
Wow.
So here's 3 guys you can reach out to. And there was 2 guys that I was kind of familiar with, and I was like, oh, I want to get counseling from them. And like, there was crickets on the other side, like nothing. They didn't respond. Like, I had no contact from them. So the 3rd guy, ended up being amazing. And I still reach out to him periodically, but it went from like a weekly counseling mentorship type of thing. And what I really appreciated, and I think a lot of men probably think this way, is, I mean, if you're financially concerned about how much is this going to cost, am I going to have to do this forever? It's one of the first things I think we think about. And one of the first things he said in our very first session, he said, hey, if we're meeting every week for the next 2 years, you should fire me. Like, that means I'm not doing my job.
Wow.
And that was like a big sigh of relief, because I was like, dude, I don't want to, like, I'm going to do this for like the next 10 years of my life. Like, no, dude, like, I'm not going to do that. And you're going to be relying upon me for my money. It's going to be this weird codependent relationship. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, you need to help me, but I also don't want to be seeing you for the next 10 years of my life. Like, this doesn't make sense. So I went from this place of hating it to having interest to really enjoying it, and then finding people along the journey that made me feel like, okay, we're on the same page. So I can do this with you, because not just because we think alike, but they answered one of the big questions. And that again was, do I have to do this for like the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And that kind of has changed a little bit, where I'm like, I think so, but it doesn't have to look like what it looked like before.
Right.
Which was like intense every week. And now it's, I reach out to him, once every 2 months, and we have a little tune-up session. And so that's been really helpful for me, just to continue to do that.
Yeah. I mean, triggers alone will change the game. Just learning about those. Because
I didn't even know what it was. It's so weird.
Oh my gosh.
Dating triggers everything.
Dating is so triggering. Yeah. So
it's super triggering. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It changes the game. Just knowing like, okay, like this is something I can own and heal. And, it's not this person like pushing my buttons on purpose.
I felt that way for so long.
Yep. Yeah.
I was like, there's nothing wrong with me. Like, I'm good.
It's real.
And you find out like you're not good, and
Yeah.
There's so many things you don't see. It's such
Yeah.
what's weird too is I think a lot of men, we think that being like that person who brings up the trigger is the actual problem itself.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
real.
so I would run
Women
away from
too.
that person.
Women think that too.
We think that,
Yeah.
which we know the guy is the, no, I'm joking.
Most of the time though, I will admit I feel like it is the guy. I do. I feel like it is the guy.
No,
You heard it here, folks.
yeah, no, dude, we got it. We got ish, David. We got ish. So
Yeah, but you guys are more open. Initially, you guys are more open to owning it.
Mm.
Like, you guys are more geared towards, empathy, where we're more logic based. So I think with your empathy, it just gives you a softer heart, where us guys were like, dude, like, no, like, that doesn't even make sense. So, yeah, I think women are better at it than men for sure. You guys just have more tools initially. I think
Yeah.
you're geared with more relational things where guys like we have to practice vulnerability. Like we're not raised most of the time with the inclination to just confess or be vulnerable or be open or be truthful. We're more geared towards shame, I guess you would say. Where
Yeah.
women like are constantly practicing sharing. It's
Yeah.
like, when you're younger, guys don't get together with your buddy and share your deepest, darkest secrets. You don't just like volunteer information. Where women like you're so connection oriented.
Mm.
That's why I think women are just better at it. We need so much more practice because I feel like we're behind years and years and years. I don't know. Let me ask you a question as an example. All
Whoa.
three of you. Whoa.
Ready.
How old
we
were
weren't
you
ready.
guys? Can you remember back when, like, how old were you when you first started to like really share with, friends your own age? Was this like 6, 7, 8, 9? Like, what age was it where that became a normal thing?
like 5.
Lauren was like, I remember the moment.
Yeah.
You were in a like basically all girl house, Lauren. Like
Me?
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Siblings. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
was going to say, I think you're right. I think women have more permission to be vulnerable and share.
Yes.
It's like men don't necessarily grow up with that permission or encouragement
Yeah.
unless they're in a household that values it, but it's definitely not the norm,
Culturally.
I would say. Yeah.
No,
But
yeah, for sure.
yeah, I think probably same as Lauren, probably like pretty I would say like school age, pretty young. Like, yeah, you just start like sharing your feelings and different things. Yeah.
It
But
is
yeah.
more culturally acceptable among women, I think.
Yeah, my earliest memories, like my sister's my best friend, and we'd told each other pretty much everything, and yeah, girls that were around my age and became friends, like same thing. So it's just always been part of my life, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so unfair. I feel like
It is unfair.
it is. It's so unfair. Like how do we create a culture where here's the tricky thing I think though is like how do you create a culture where young boys have that environment, but because society right now is so it feels like society the enemy, however we want to word it, but it's so geared on making men more like women. Like how do you have that both those things? Like you can be vulnerable, but you're also not a woman. Like how do we do that? And I think that's a challenge
Right.
that a question to be asked for people to think about, because I think we need that. We need young boys to practice vulnerability and also know their masculine side at the same time. So
Yeah.
not to say that vulnerability isn't masculinity. I believe it is, but we have to frame it differently, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a question. I have a question for you. On that vein, but I guess what are some ways that you feel like women in a relationship can create that like safety or feeling? Because I do feel like sometimes in a relationship as a woman, if you don't handle a guy's vulnerability well, you can shut that part of him down. So what are some ways that you think women have helped with that?
Yeah. So I was dating, like, how women can help with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you, I guess I can give a couple examples, but also I feel like you know the answer to this already. Maybe you just want to hear it again, but
I want to hear it
what
from
we have,
you, you know?
yeah, yeah. What's worked for me is, gosh, I don't know how vulnerable or how open we want to be on this, but what has worked for me is if I make a mistake and I know like I shouldn't have done that, and it could look as simple as, hey, okay, so we're in a relationship, we go out to eat somewhere, and there's a cute girl that's our waitress, right? And I can feel myself being a little bit too friendly, and I notice it, like, and I enjoy it at the same time. So maybe not there at the table, but maybe afterwards, I come to you and I'm like, hey, I don't know if you noticed, but I was a little friendly. I thought she was attractive and I was actually enjoying the conversation. And there's like feedback, like she's also, the waitress is also giving it back to me as well. And it's like, it's fun and it's playful, but like, deep inside, um, something is off. Like I did something wrong, like I crossed the line. And I come to you and I tell you that, like I do, you need to receive it with just like kindness as
Hmm.
best as possible and understanding. Because if you don't, then I don't have a safe place to tell you. Like I'm telling you for a reason. I'm telling you
Yeah.
because I want to be vulnerable. I want to connect. I want to
Hmm.
honor our relationship and I want to continue our relationship as well. And if I'm telling you all these things, you better believe that it took me courage to do that, and you better
Hmm.
believe that I'm doing my best to be honest and transparent. So if you come at me with like, how could you do that? Or if you come at me harsh, it's going to be tough to open me back up again. And
Hmm.
I don't even know how you would be able to trust me going forward unless I can come to you and tell you things like that. Like I want to be
Hmm.
as transparent as possible, as often as possible. Now, I don't want to be like, I have to tell you every thought that goes into my head because that's crazy, and I don't think any of us can do that. But that thing that kind of rises up inside of you, and you're like, that was wrong. Like I shouldn't have done that. You
Hmm.
just feel
Hmm.
conviction about it.
Yeah.
And I just need a safe place for it to land. And if you give me a safe place for me to tell you really vulnerable information, that will create the environment, that will create the foundation where I can come to you with anything and have no fear of your reaction. And that was something that really affected me with that relationship that I was in when I was 30 is as I came with vulnerability, and she's obviously grown and been on her own journey and realized that, oh, that's not the right way to do things. But the reactions that I would get from vulnerability were very scary, very, very
Hmm.
scary. And it made me not want to open up. And so I would go into that freeze mode where I
Hmm.
literally did not feel like I could communicate. And
Hmm.
then it's like her trying to pry me open, and I'm just like locked down. I'm not opening up. I'm not going to share with you. I'm not going to tell you what's really going on.
Hmm.
And that just creates obviously like a really bad relationship, like I don't feel like I can open up and you're not getting information from me anymore because I don't trust you. So just having that ability to receive it with kindness, I can take, um, I did something wrong. I can take
Yeah.
that hurt me. I can take, the questions that you may have. I can answer them for you. But the reactions of like yelling or screaming or anything in that nature that's just like, you're this type of person, you're this, you're that, accusations, that's not going to get a good result. So I would say stay away from accusations for
Hmm.
sure. And express your hurt, express how it made you feel,
Hmm.
but don't come at us with like labels. Like you're
Yeah.
just blah 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 blah. Like that's not helpful. So um, yeah, I think that was a big thing for me is just when I found people that were healthy, and it was a big shock. I was like, wow, like I can actually tell you things, and I'm waiting, like I was legit waiting for reactions. Like,
Hmm.
how is she going to react to this when I dated healthier
Yeah.
people? And it was such a contrast from what I was used to that
Hmm.
it gave me the ability to be like, oh, I can trust. I didn't know this, but I was like, oh, I can trust women. I can trust
Mhm.
that they're not crazy. I can trust that, they're not just going to go off on me. And
Hmm.
that was yeah, I think that is a thing that I didn't realize was there, but I feel like I developed, oh, all women are like this,
Hmm.
type of mentality. And so thank God that has changed, but having one bad experience can really, man, really throw you off for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What are some things you noticed like after you went through that workbook and started getting mentorship? How did that change dating for you? Like obviously it probably wasn't like right away, but over
No,
time.
definitely wasn't. Yeah, so after getting some resources and figuring out, okay, you have a lot of things that you didn't see, I will reference, have you guys read Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus? Is
Oh
that a
yeah,
book
I've
that you
read
guys have
it.
read?
Did you send me that
John
book, Dre?
Gray, probably. I've sent you all my books.
Callie or
No,
Lauren?
no.
No?
I
Okay.
think I gave
I'm
it
against
away.
it. No, just
Lauren, did
kidding.
you read it
You're
first? Oh
against
my
it.
gosh.
No,
I don't
I
think
have
I
no
have
idea what
it.
it is.
Lauren, you don't read everything I give you?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Lauren.
Anyways, continue, David.
Yeah, so I'll just give an example from like that book. So as I said earlier, we tend to be more literal, where
Hmm.
women will use kind of like language that is ambiguous to describe a feeling, or to convey an emotion that's going on. So in that book, I didn't realize that we literally speak a different language. I had no clue. So something like this would happen, and this is an example in the book as well. So I feel like it's perfect. It would be something simple like, hey, you never take me out. And I'm like, bro, I just took you out last week. What are you talking about? And I'm thinking literal, like, how could she say that? Like, is she crazy? What's going on? Like, what does she mean by that? So something so simple as, you never take me out anymore. And what she's really trying to say is, hey, I want to spend time with you and I want to connect. But we don't understand that. We don't get that what you're saying is not sometimes what you mean. And that was very, very difficult for me to get around. I was always looking at the facts and what she's literally saying. And I was never looking at what's behind what she's saying. What's the emotion coming from? Like, is she looking to connect? Is she sad? Like, what does she need? But I was always, always, always 100% just taking things literally. And that made relationship very difficult because it would honestly would just piss me off. I'd just get angry. I'd be
Hmm.
like, dude, she's crazy. Like, what is she talking about? And that's like a very simple example. I mean, Dre, is that something that you, or all of you ladies, do you feel like that's something that actually does happen where we just don't get it? Like we speak a different language? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely would agree that we don't speak the same language a lot of the times. Sometimes it's funny though. I feel like my fiance and I, not all the time, but sometimes it'll be flipped where I can be a little bit more literal and
Mm,
he's a bit more ambiguous. And I'm like, but this is what you said. And he's like, I meant this. And I'm like, what?
mm,
So I would say it can flip sometimes,
sure.
just depending on the relationship, even. But I would say probably universally, men and women do speak differently, and
Yeah.
it's a learning curve, and learning the person that you're with more than anything is probably what I would say. So, yeah.
Hmm.
I would say definitely like there's communication things that you have to like keep almost like re-communicating and fully understanding like what do you mean by that.
Mm.
Like that example is perfect. I've definitely had those conversations of like we never go on dates, and they're like I took you to In and Out, and I'm like
Come
that's not a
on.
date, So like it's like talking through like those expectations. It's like you
Yeah.
do have to kind of go a little bit deeper, which I think that's like I'd hope any dating couple would do, is like having that connection and that communication of it's also like cool. I love how God made like men and women's like brains so different, because like
Mm-hmm.
together we operate so well together, you know,
Yeah.
in that. And so it's like we complement instead of like I wouldn't want to date someone that's just like me. I'd go crazy, you know, but like you have to like it's fascinating to like understand the other brain and how they communicate. But I totally think, yeah, there's such different languages going on.
Yeah,
No,
well, and
totally.
I would say too, it's like I think there's a little bit of like family culture, like all
Yeah.
like the
Yes.
culture you grew up in, because like my boyfriend came from a very direct culture, like they just like tell it like it is. And my family's like very like we put a lot of fluff around stuff. We're very
Mm,
non-confrontational if we confront. And so his like normal level of like I'm communicating to you, I'm like, why are you like coming at me right now? You know?
Why are you yelling at me?
Yeah.
is his culture like, is he an American or is his like family from somewhere else?
His family's from somewhere else, but he's American. But
Okay,
yeah, so he was kind of raised in like a different culture, but in America, if that makes sense. Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Another one that I actually had written this down is, and it's so true, like when a woman says nothing is wrong, but what she really means is, and we don't understand that, what she really means is like something is wrong, but I want you to care enough to find out what it is.
Hmm.
But we don't understand those type of things. Like we just it's not even on our radar. And I think that's the hard part for guys is, and for me specifically, it was difficult because in a way, it's like I can only give you what I have. Like I
Hmm.
can't give you more than that. So if it's not on my radar, it just would upset me. I'd just be like,
Right.
dude, this is hopeless. Like I don't even know what she's talking about. And then when you
Yeah.
start to get a little bit more tools, you're like, oh, well, maybe she means this. Let me dig a little deeper and find out. And I think the challenging part is like we have to constantly be reminded or like refreshed. Like we constantly need to be taking like courses or just in that environment where we're constantly learning because it's so easy for those things just to kind of you can just forget about them. And so yeah,
Yeah.
that book really helped me. I feel like with dating in general, where it helped me to understand we're speaking a different language and I need to learn what that language is. I'm
Yeah.
still learning,
Well, and
you know?
I'd say there's definitely some ownership on the
Hmm.
ladies' end too.
$1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can't, yeah, we have to be clear about what we want. I think the movies make you feel like he should be able to predict it all, but it's not fair, you know? So we've literally all been like, "Hey, I like flowers. Can you get me flowers?"
Hmm.
Like these are my
No, no
expectations.
guessing games.
Yeah, like it's
Mm,
not fair to make guys guess. And like, yeah, there's been moments where I'm upset, like I don't fully know what's going on inside of me right now. He's trying to help me and I'm like, you know what, if I knew, I would tell you.
Yeah. And
So
I
it's not even like I'm always trying to get him to guess. I'm like, does anyone know? Like, is my therapist here to help us figure
mm,
this out? Like,
That's
I don't
so
even
yeah,
know
yeah.
cool.
yet.
and I think it's important to not try to treat the other person like like you should be a mind reader, like you should know what I
Mm-mm.
need right now. Like that's
Yeah.
just not fair. Nobody
Yeah.
knows. Like Andrea said, half the time we don't even know. There's just like
Like,
emotions or hormones
me
or
and Callie
whatever.
can't tell
Oh
you
my
till
gosh.
like at least 24 hours later,
Yes.
probably.
Oh yeah. I'm like the amount of times I've had to say, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling something. Come back in a couple
No, it's
hours
true.
and maybe I'll have an idea.
Right, that's communicating at least, which is
Yeah.
good.
At least, yeah. And I think it's fair to just communicate that. I don't think people
What you
realize
can't.
that always. Yeah. Is that you can just communicate, like, I actually don't know what I'm feeling right now. And I'm not trying to like
That's
make
fair.
you guess, you know?
No, that's totally fair. But the difficult part that men don't understand also, which I feel like I'm kind of learning right now, is the different stages of your hormones that we just don't understand.
We
Like
don't understand
Yeah.
it's
either.
it's
There's
wild.
another one we
Yeah.
don't understand.
That's like it's so but it's not just like a concept though, because you guys actually experience it and go through it where we don't have the ability to. So to empathize with you when you're going through like your period or the different stages of it, we like, I feel like every man should take some type of course or learn about it. Because what is it, like the luteal phase? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Your hormones are just like legit all over the place, and it's so out there. We don't have a concept for that. We have
I
like
think
no grid.
But I think that also goes back to like us owning our lives, right? Like
Yeah.
not putting it on the guy to figure it out. Like for instance, like all of us, like you could either name it, but my goal is like, hey, that's not like negatively affecting my relationships. If it is, that's a bigger issue than your hormones, right? Like
Yeah.
you owning that, like you're
Yeah.
not going to be like affecting it just because like all women in all of history are on their period all the time, but there's not people like ruining all their relationships. Like I sometimes think that like women can blame that personally.
Yeah.
That's me. Instead of just like owning my shit, you know, like owning my stuff. And so, but it is good to know like,
It's
hey,
a
that
tough one.
does like that can affect, but I don't know. I don't like that hasn't negatively affected my relationships that I'm aware of when it comes
That
to
you
like
know
our
of.
period that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know of. But
That you
I
know
mean,
of.
we're always in some part of our cycle. So
Yeah.
anyways, we could probably
Yeah.
like go into another podcast on that one, but
No, but that's a good topic, I think, for guys to learn because we have no grid for it. And I think it's a bit unfair because if we had a grid for it, I think we would have more empathy, but we just expect you to get over it. We're like, just get over it. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
we just
And
really like chocolate. Like, we can't help it.
And we
Hey,
cry
if
a
it
lot
helps.
sometimes.
Yeah, no.
And
I
sometimes
That's another topic, though.
and sometimes we bleed through things. It just happens.
Oh my gosh. Lauren.
Wow.
Gosh.
You had a period.
Yes, we all know what happens during your period. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you, Lauren.
Anyways, I divert. Dre, do you have other questions for David?
Well, I actually was gonna say we've never talked about the period on here before, but
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you,
while
David.
we're on it, you know,
Guys,
yeah, thanks for
guys.
opening this up.
There's a good book. I think it's a book, I think it's a book. It's called The Period Brain. Have you guys heard of it?
Okay.
No.
No, I'm kind of scared though.
makes me
Did a
funny.
You're
man
learning
write
this from a
this?
guy.
Did a man write this?
No, a woman wrote it.
Okay, you're just
Okay,
trying to get
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
give it a chance. We'll give
you're
it a
trying to get
chance.
into the brain of a woman. You're trying to figure us out.
Yeah.
Okay. Good
A
luck.
little bit. No, but it's super helpful though, the period brain. It kind of goes through the stages. So anyways, I think it's a good one for you guys to go over.
Oh my
It's a
gosh,
good
this is
thing.
amazing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. See, I knew having David on the podcast was going to be good.
We got
Felt
resources
it in my
for
gut.
You got
ourselves.
resources. Yeah.
I did want to say, which I feel like Lauren, we've talked about this before. One thing about the period is that I guess for any guy that feels like when she brings it up on her period, like it is absolutely just crazy, out of left field, not even real. That's
Mhm.
not true because usually the period is just like the catalyst for bringing something up that has been there all along.
Yeah.
And so it's not that it's not an issue. It's probably that it's an issue and she's had a little more bandwidth to like handle it. But the period, you know, has brought her emotions to the surface. So it's actually, I think you can look at it as a good thing because it's not like those things aren't there the other times in her cycle. It's just that because she's feeling more tender or vulnerable during certain times in her cycle, she's going to bring up stuff that maybe she normally wouldn't. And
Wow, that's really good.
to dismiss it is kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's probably easier, but it's not
That's
like
good.
gonna get you to the level of
Yeah.
like healing and nurturing that you actually can get to in your relationship because there's like I've never had something where I'm like, wow, I literally never think this or feel this at all unless
Yeah.
I'm on my period. Like it's all stuff that I
It's
like
already there.
always feel, but I'd feel it stronger, yeah, on my period.
Ah, that was deep, Dre. That was
Dude,
good.
is this a consensus amongst you three? Is that like, do you feel the same way?
I would say overall, yes, but there are times where I'm like, sometimes I do just feel extra tender. I'm like, this wouldn't normally push me over the edge, but I'm being pushed over the edge right now. So I
Well,
did want to say though, let me see if I remember it, Andrea. I had it in my head when you were talking. Oh, okay. If a guy says like, "Oh, are you on your period?" Like, if that's thrown out when
oh,
you're like bringing up something emotional,
yeah.
I really
It's
hate
rough.
that because it feels very dismissive. Because like
Mhm.
Andrea said, like you're like, no, I'm actually bringing something up. Usually that's been there for a while, but I'm
Mhm.
just bringing it up now. And if a guy says that, it just feels like a slap in the face because
Oh,
you're
for sure.
like, no, it's not because I'm just on my period. Like I'm just, it happens to be right now that I'm bringing it up. So just a
Yeah.
tip.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lauren,
That's it. I have nothing else to
that's it.
say.
That's
That's it.
good.
They spoke plenty for me.
Uh, you know what? That's like information I've never heard before. And I think that's really helpful, actually. I really like that. So it's stuff that's already been there and you're feeling extra tender, it just comes to the surface. That's good to know. Good
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah.
Thank you
There
for
you
that.
go, guys. Hopefully
I'm
I
gonna
just
put
helped
that
you
on my
with
tool
your
belt for future. That's really good.
helped you with your next convo with your girlfriend, hopefully, guys out there. Okay, let's see. I totally had a question. This is good though. We're just like flowing in all different directions with this
Literal
We
I
flow.
was
conversation.
are.
gonna say
Literal flow.
And that's
flowing.
the worst
Get it.
time for me to use
Oh,
that
Yeah.
wow.
phrase.
David, you started this. I don't understand.
Yeah.
You brought
I'm
this up.
I'm happy to talk about the period. I think it's interesting.
Period brain.
Okay, here's what I was gonna ask. I know you touched on this earlier, like that guys have to kind of step into this role of like pursuing, but there's this like fear of rejection or whatever that they have to grapple with. Like, so what are some things that you've done to like overcome that or create
Good question.
momentum in your dating life, like over the last few years?
Yeah, it's a good question. My dog is here, by the way.
Oh my
Honey,
gosh,
go
bonus
lay down. Go
guest.
lay down. Yes, bonus guest. And she's a girl. So
Oh, she gets us.
um, she
She
gets
on
you
her
guys.
period?
No, thank God. What are some things? So I think for one is like getting, okay, you first have to realize that that you need help, right? And I think when I got to the point where I was like, oh, I need help, let me seek out someone who can help me with counsel. That would be something that I think really helped me is like initially I need help. Let me get counsel. Let me read some material. Let me, hit up some podcasts and just kind of get in that realm so that I can learn. And just having information is great, as we know, but you have to put it into action. And one of the videos that I had posted, I think that Lauren was talking about, I think the title of the video was like, I don't know, like I got rejected 5 times or something like that. But I took a risk, like I
Hmm.
got out there and I was like, I feel insecure. I don't feel necessarily qualified. She's probably like it's way too hot. Like this is probably never going to happen. But I took a risk.
Yeah.
And initially it was scary and
Hmm.
I felt that weight and that pain of like rejection. It didn't last long, but it was there. And so when I say it didn't last long, it wasn't something that lasted more than like 2 days. But I
Hmm.
felt the rejection. And then as I continued to get rejected, it just got less and less. Like it literally did not sting as much.
Hmm.
And I realized, okay, I I don't feel less confident with this rejection. I don't feel like my identity is tied to this rejection. And so
Hmm.
that was the next thing is just getting out there, taking chances, and being okay with a no and still being like, I'm still me. I'm still David. I still have my identity intact. Your yes wasn't going to make me better necessarily, and your no is not going to make me worse. And I was okay with that. And
Good.
that really helped with the dating phase. Also, um, this is something that I did when I dated that girl in my 30s. And I wish I had done this more with more dating is I would like consult God about everything. And
Hmm.
that made life more fun, if I can say that. It just made it way more fun. I would just pray about every little detail, like, Lord, can I text her tonight? And I would hear no, and I wouldn't know
Hmm.
why. but there was so much purpose behind consulting God and asking him, and him telling me no at times and telling me yes at times, and just the timing of everything. It was like this beautifully orchestrated symphony that was happening. And I was just looking at the conductor and he was telling me like what direction to go in. And I haven't done that in the last few years. And I'm like, even you guys asking the question reminds me of what I would do in the past. And it was such a beautiful experience. Although things didn't work out because we were just living in sin.
Hmm.
The consulting God aspect, I think, is a big one that sometimes guys miss. And if you're okay, so I'm a business owner, right? A small business owner. And you make decisions all day long without thinking. You go based off experience, you go based off of what you did last time or what's best for the business. And you're not, I mean, Andrea, I know you have your own thing going on as well with your business, but like you just make decisions all day. So it's really easy to not stop, pray, think, consult, get advice. It's really easy just to be like, second nature, just making decisions. And I think that has translated into dating life as well, where I don't consult as much and I really like, I need to get back into that place. So that's an area right now that I recognize and I know that is, I'm not the best at that. And I allowed work to translate into like real life and I don't want to live like that. But that's something that I was doing and it was amazing, fun, beautiful, lots of faith, lots of like just anticipating what God's going to do. And then you get into this place where you're like, well, I'm a grown up. I can make my own decisions. And it's not, I don't feel like it's the way. There is an aspect where we take responsibility. God trains us. We have experience, like we know what to do, but there's something very beautiful and tender about still being open to the direction that God wants you to go in. And that's a huge one, I think, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's something that I could really grow in at the moment.
Yeah. I'm curious, have you ever gone to God like after a rejection or a disappointment to kind of have him help you process that end of things as well?
I don't remember. So that specific video that I had put out, like I don't remember how I dealt with it, but I know I did have some conversations with the Lord about it. But it felt like the Lord in that moment was just like happy that I did it.
Yeah.
Like, who cares about the result? He was just happy that I
Totally.
took a chance. And I
Yeah.
felt, if I can remember correctly, this is, been about 3 years or so, but if I remember correctly, I felt like the Lord was just like proud of it,
Mm.
happy, like good job type of thing. And it was like the results didn't really matter. It was more
Yeah.
about, oh, you took a chance. I'm happy that you took a chance. And it just was fun. It was fun taking a chance and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And if I could add one more thing to that though,
Totally.
that I think is very, very important and actually, I don't want to say the most important, but is being in constant community with other guys
Mm.
is a huge, huge aspect that we tend to miss. We like, I'll speak for myself. I like to give details after they happen instead of giving my guy friends the play by play as it's happening.
Mm.
And I feel like I've saved myself from loads of trouble when I'm just being open and honest. Hey, I'm going on a date. This is what's happening. This is where we're going. Not that I need a parent to tell me, but just to have an aspect of community, accountability, and vulnerability has really kept me, I feel like, on a good path. But
Mm.
we miss it so many times with guys. We're like, well, I'm just going to do this. No one's going to tell me what to do. Not that we purposely think that way, but I think the community aspect is probably like super vital for the
Mm.
success of a relationship to a certain degree because we like to hide,
Yeah.
especially if we made a mistake, especially if we crossed
Mm.
a boundary. Like we like to hide, and just having that community, um, I think for myself is the only way that I can kind of do relationship going forward.
Mm.
I don't think it will work if I outside of community. So those are the things I think that have helped and are still, actively involved the Lord spoke to me, I feel like the end of last year. He's like, you need to get involved, you need to be connected more. I have gotten so comfortable just kind of being by myself and so
Yeah.
comfortable being outside of community. I feel like the Lord is like, no, this is the place where you can thrive. And I can see it slowly happening, but it is happening this year.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. What do you think keeps guys from community?
We're not accustomed to being vulnerable. We have to be at a men's retreat, or we have to be in a small group, or we
Yeah.
have to like be in that environment where it's kind of forced out of you. Like, hey,
Yeah.
how's your sexual purity going on? Who talks like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't like amongst my friends, like that question will be asked,
Yeah.
but typically speaking, like you're not gonna get together with a bunch of guys and like, dude, are you
No.
looking at porn? Like, what's going on? Like, we don't
Yeah.
because there's an aspect of like respect that you have for other men, and you feel like you're not supposed to touch certain areas at times. And
Yeah.
unless you're in a Christian community that feels safe, you
Mhm.
just don't go there.
Right.
And we're scared. We're scared of how other men are going to view us. We're scared of they're going to not respect me. And as you guys know, like men want to be respected for the most part. So we're scared of all those things. And it prohibits us from actually being open and vulnerable when it's so crazy, because the very thing that gains my respect from a man or a woman is vulnerability. Like instantly. When people tell on themselves, I'm like, bro, I can trust you. Like I'm
Yeah.
with you. Like I'll ride with you. And that's the very thing that we shy away from. So we as men just don't have a lot of environments or opportunities to practice vulnerability. And it's something that we desperately, desperately need. And unfortunately, we're not brought up to do that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're just not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a huge thing. My boyfriend has said similar things where it's like men need that literal, like, you are here at small group. This is your time to open up and talk.
Yeah.
And people are going to ask you direct questions. And like, because, yeah, women kind of just naturally, we weave it into our day, like
Every
our
day.
week. Yeah.
Right.
But men, they need that. And I think even it helps to be able to mentally know that it's coming, like, okay, it's,
Oh,
Tuesday
yes.
night, it's men's group night or
Right.
whatever.
I'm going to
Yeah.
confess my sins on Tuesday night. Yes.
Yeah.
Someone's
True.
gonna ask me about porn.
Someone's going to ask me. I got to be ready. It's true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Another part about that I realized very recently in probably the last 2 weeks is the more that I am connected with vulnerability and transparency, like I feel more connected with myself. When I feel more connected to myself, I can feel more connected to another person. But when
Yeah.
that's out of the picture, I just can't. Like it's
Yeah.
so difficult because I think as men, we have this aspect of like honor, if that makes sense, and respect. And because if we don't respect ourselves, we can't, it's hard for us to connect with somebody else. It's just
Yep.
very, very difficult, I would say.
Yep.
Or it's a surface level connection. It's not real.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. Well, Callie and Lauren, do you guys have any questions that you wanted to ask?
Think so. I think you were just on a roll and I was feeling
I
it.
know, I was,
so,
like,
no,
present.
it's true.
yeah.
It's true.
I was pretty present with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to hear if you want to like share to like any men out there who want to first like date, like what were some tips that you would give them? And then also to men who don't have community and have no idea how to get into community, what would you say to them?
Good.
Okay, well, let's start off with the tips on dating. If you're actually going, I made another video about this, but if you're actually going to go on a date, we sometimes are not very intentional. And I think that is a part of going on a date that needs to be. Like you need to plan first of all, you need to ask the person, right? Step one, ask the person.
Oh,
Yeah.
Step two,
Yeah.
like make an actual plan. So here's the location, this is the time, this is what you should potentially wear for this type of date. So actually giving the information to the person of, hey, this is what is actually happening. So you actually plan a day and a time. How many times do we say, yeah, bro, like I'll call you, but we make no plans to do that, or we'll do this, but we never do. So just making that plan and then being intentional about, if you're booking a reservation for a restaurant or you're booking a reservation to go somewhere, whatever it might be, like actually doing that. And then lastly, just following through. You said
Mhm.
this time, this day, you booked a reservation, like don't cower it out, don't make other plans. Kind of like my situation with this, podcast today is I was going to go to the gym right beforehand. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be cutting it pretty short. I probably need to cut something out to make sure that
Mhm.
I can show up to this. And for the guys out there, cut out whatever you need to cut out to make sure that your plans don't fall through. And that's a big
Yeah.
one that I've dealt with a lot. Overbooking and then canceling on people, unfortunately. And then the community aspect of it, if you're a guy and you're like, I just don't know how to get in community, I don't know what that looks like, I'm not in that environment. I mean, I don't know of a better place than the church to actually get involved in community. Now, you
Come
can
on.
join a volleyball group, you can join a softball league, you can do all those things, but know in that environment, more than likely, you're not going to go into those places that you actually need. So I feel like
Mm.
if you're involved in some type of church, if you go to whether this is young adults, youth, or just finding the groups that kind of fit a little bit to more of your personality. Like I know not every group, I'm not going to go to the flag waving group as an example. Like that's just, I'm not going to find great connection there.
Same group.
I love that group.
What the heck?
Callie's captain of that group.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Callie, she
I'm
is.
Damn.
sorry. I'm sorry, guys. So
But
I'm
she's
going to find one
marrying
that
a
kind
worship
of fits
leader.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
All for
finding
it.
the right group and like knowing, I think Andrea said it earlier, knowing like on Tuesdays, this is what I can expect. And I think for men, that's so, so helpful. We
Mm.
know what to expect. We know we have to come with a certain level of vulnerability and it helps us. It's uncomfortable, but when you leave that group, when you've spoken about whatever you need to speak about, you're like, dude, I'm so glad that I did that. You walk
Mm.
away with more freedom through confession, sharing, and you feel lighter. And I feel like that enables us again. When we're able to share with people what's really going on, we feel more connected with ourselves. Therefore, we're able to come to our partner, the person that we're dating, and feel more connected with them. So I say the
Yeah.
church, go to the church. Like it's the best place, in my
Yeah.
opinion, at least.
Yeah. So good. The church is where it's at, you know?
What's that? What's that?
Yeah, that's so good. And I did want to say about the dating, like, you can build so much trust in the first 3 dates by giving someone a plan, telling her what to expect, and then following through. Like, it
Yeah.
Yeah.
is
True.
wild. Yep. How much trust and safety. And like safety sounds lame, like it's not in the rom-coms, it's like not in the movies, but it's like the number one thing that women need is
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
to feel safe with you. And if she sees like you're a guy that follows through on what he says he's gonna do, like it sounds like not a big deal, right? It's just dinner or whatever, but it's a bigger deal, I think, than people realize sometimes.
Wow.
So
That's really
yeah,
good.
it's huge. Yeah.
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 So good.
Wow. Okay. Well, any last thoughts anyone wants to share before we wrap up this podcast?
I think for me, David, I think you've done such a good job of like
Yeah.
going after, I don't know, being like a man of God, which we just so
Yeah.
respect, and we're like so grateful to have you here tonight. But just knowing like your work is not going to go void, and I think it's impacting more men and women than you know. And so
Mm.
just continue to lean into your voice, like what God's done with you. Even if you're like, oh, that was a couple years ago I did those reels. I'm like, well, I was just watching some of them recently and I was like, this is so good. So
Mm,
just know that like God is going to continue to use your voice, whether it be on social media or somewhere else.
Yeah.
But just like lean into that gifting of like, there's things that you have to share and say. And like, we're so blessed by it tonight, but
thank
just
you.
like knowing that, like continue to lean into this area of like speaking into men's lives, because like we need more men like you. And so anyways, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
I so appreciate that. Thank you so much.
yeah, I also just wanted to say I love it. Just feels like the theme that you've had throughout the whole podcast has just been like a posture of like learning, and you want to know more. And that's huge. Like, if everyone had that attitude in dating, in marriage, relationships, like, it's a game changer. It's not just like, well, I don't know what's going on there, and I'm just over here doing my own thing. It's like you've really taken that on, which it sounds like that was not always the way. Maybe it started with that workbook you talked about, but it sounds like that's just like really been a catalyst for where you are now and how you approach things. Yeah, now, which is amazing. So I think that's really, really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like one last thought on that. I don't think I would date anybody, and I don't think anyone should date anybody who doesn't have three things. And that one of them is like a humble heart. You have to have a heart of humility that can like see that there's an issue, right? You have to have like a soft heart that when someone comes to you and says, hey, there's an issue, there is not this automatically, no, or a wall, or like you're wrong. So I think having a humble heart, whether it's a male or female, is super important. Number two is someone that can own their mistakes. Like, that's a big one. It's a huge one. Like, if you can't own your mistakes, what are we doing? Like, I can't build a life with you, or you can't build a life with me.
Right.
That's the other one. And then I had one more that I can't remember at the moment. But there was, oh gosh, what was the last one? I had written it down.
Just
actually.
make it up.
Make it up.
He wrote it down, Lauren. He wrote it down.
Just having like a mindset of growth, which I think one of you guys had said it earlier, is simply, are you wanting to grow or are you not? And if I have like those three things, someone who, can have a humble heart, someone that can own their mistakes, and someone that is willing to grow, I'm like, dude, we can pretty much do anything with those three things.
Yeah. It's so true. I just wanted to say too, I feel like another theme has been vulnerability, and especially like with men. And it's so interesting to me that it's like sometimes seen as like not a manly trait, because I'm like, it takes so much courage to be vulnerable, and I feel like courage is like one of the manliest traits you can have. So yeah, I just thank you for like just demonstrating that, and speaking on it a little bit too. But like, truly, like a man who's vulnerable, I'm like, this is a real man. Like, this is the courage. And like, even when men in a relationship like go first in vulnerability, like I'm like, yep, that's like what the man's job is. Not that the women can't do it, but I do think that that's like how the Lord designed it to be. So I appreciate that as well, and the things that you were saying.
No, that's so good. I really, really like that. It's a good reminder that we're meant to lead in like every area, so to speak. It's really good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, ladies. It's been a pleasure talking with you. I feel like there's so much more we can talk about. You guys
I'm going to read that book on the period, so I'm ready.
The period brain. No, you guys, I feel like I learned some interesting things from you guys as well that I really appreciate. And I think it's only through conversation like this that, like both sides pick up tools and pick up information that we can use, and also see a different side. So I really appreciate this. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah,
It's been a good chat.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. Giving up your gym time for us.
Yeah.
He's still going.
I'm still going.
He's still going. He has to.
True.
I'm still going. Yeah.
Okay, Coach Lowe over there. Okay, well, everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. We love you guys, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.